Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Building a Cyber Aware Workforce. This is just an hour's webinar with Gemma from Norfolk and Suffolk Police. We will also have this recording so you can access it afterwards if you want to watch it again or share it with colleagues. I'm not going to talk too much. I'll email you afterwards with what support we've got available for New Anglia Growth Hub. And with that, I'm going to hand you over to Gemma.
Lovely, thank you so much, Jo. Good morning, everyone. As Jo said today, we are having a session directly with me. There is no escaping it. And today we are looking at building a cyber-aware workforce. Now, in our previous sessions, we have looked at the threat landscape to ensure you have an understanding as to why we need to have that strategic foresight to take these risks seriously and implement cybersecurity practices that will really allow us to reduce the risk and the impact of when we are a victim of this type of offending. We've looked at technical tools available to us as well, but unless we focus on our workforce, our staff of all levels, none of this education will have that much of an impact. We need a combined approach. So this statistic we have on the board here, an estimated what percentage of cyber attacks succeed due to human error? What do we think? Oh, hopefully my Q&A little box is going to work for me today. No, it isn't. Okay. So I will have to go off what I think that you might have put. We generally get a kind of either very high or very low guess on this. But the answer is actually 95% of cyber attacks succeed due to human error. And I really do want you to remember the case of the matter is it is not if, but when your organization becomes a victim of a cyber or fraud attack. And the time to act is now. And we must build a resilient workforce as they, as you can see from the statistic, are your biggest weakness, but can also be your greatest asset. So, the question is here to start with, do you have a positive cyber security culture? Now, a security culture, as you can see on the slide, refers to the values that determine how people are expected to think about and approach security in an organization. And these are shaped by the goals, the structure, policies, processes, and leadership of your organization. And it also includes your supply chain, your external partners, stakeholders, all of which will need to work with you around these elements for your business and their business to succeed. I would say a positive cybersecurity culture is essential because it's people that make an organization secure, not just those technology and those processes that we've already discussed. If this is in a place, people view security as a collective, a collaborative endeavor that supports and is supported by their everyday work. We cannot have that age-old approach of it's the IT guy's problem anymore. But we also need to remember that you can't just simply change a culture to create the right behaviors around cybersecurity. The culture is definitely an outcome rather than an input, we would term it. So there are a number of recommended essential activities from the National Cybersecurity Centre to help you in building this positive culture. And therefore, your resilience, your cyber awareness of your staff will come as a result of this. Now you can see on the board that the first one that we list at the top is leadership. We need you to encourage your senior leaders to set the tone when it comes to cybersecurity, because if a senior leader ignores security policies and processes or asks for special treatment in some way, such as requesting a different device to those standardly issued to the rest of the workforce, it really does send a signal to everyone else in the organization, in the business, that the seniors don't consider themselves that they have to follow the rules and that therefore the rules aren't fit for purpose. And it's acceptable, therefore, for staff to try and bypass these policies. this element of leadership will look at how cybersecurity and its culture within a business needs to be taken seriously, and investment made to ensure that all key activities listed here, as you can see on the board, are effective and impactful, and it cannot just be viewed as a simple checklist exercise, as staff will definitely recognise this, and you will continue to experience potential workarounds or unofficial approaches by staff members, and I'm sure you can all think of some of those as we go through here. The second is clear communication. Now, when it comes to cybersecurity, we often hear cases where we have highly technical individuals who have a role where they are responsible for overseeing the IT and cybersecurity of a business. And communication for these individuals has sometimes been a stumbling block. And by this, I mean someone who is highly technical, trying to explain things in a non-technical way to management, to leadership. And as we've just heard, we really need to have management buy-in to promote a good culture. So if they are not understanding what they're being told, there is a chance that that messaging will never filter down to the rest of the staff, to those employees that you have in your business. And when it does come to our staff, our employees, we need to ensure that your cybersecurity policies are developed in collaboration with the workforce and that they are clearly communicated so that everybody in your organization can understand the risks, their responsibilities, and what actions they need to take if required. There should never be a top-down approach where we should be hearing from everyone. Ensuring people with knowledge of local working environments are included in that security policy making, ensuring that the policies and the processes are actually fit for purpose and they're proportionate, and that you provide routes for people to challenge processes that don't work well for them in practice. So when you are looking at recruiting individuals into technical roles, also please make sure, like I said at the beginning, that there isn't that stumbling block, there isn't that barrier of communication. And I think sometimes we do, as cybersecurity professionals, we have to realize that those soft skills are just as important as those technical understandings that we have. So making sure that you have that kind of clear communication between technical and non-technical, but that messaging in its fullest filters down and there is a clear level of understanding for every single person in the organization. We then come on to simple reporting for incidents. Now, whilst technical monitoring can look for anomalies, people can really act as early warning systems and intuitively spot something that looks unusual. Now, ensuring there is a simple process in place for employees to report incidents can save businesses a huge amount of time and money, particularly when we're looking at SMEs who do not have a cybersecurity professional in-house. Their IT is external. Our staff in this sense, like I said at the beginning, can be your greatest asset. If staff are working around a set procedure, this may highlight a particular policy or process that needs to be addressed. And if we can encourage them to come forward, brilliant. So remember that ensuring people know what the processes are and are encouraged to report any issues with them, because this will build up trust within your organization by listening to those reported issues and responding positively to them and in a fair manner, and then involving the staff in the process of rectifying the issue. So if someone does raise something with you, bring them in, hear their point of view, because they are the person that's noticed it. They are therefore the person that's having to find a workaround, and they may have a solution that actually works for everyone. They are the ones with their feet on the ground. It is vitally important that we do not stigmatize mistakes and prevent individuals or teams being singled out for blame. I think we've all been in a situation where we might have clicked a link on a phishing test and then felt blamed for it. I've been out to a few businesses this week, and that's exactly what they said to me when we were discussing this topic, because that sense of blame will make people less reluctant to report incidents in the future. Any security incident should be regarded as an opportunity for self-improvement of the individual or individuals and the organization. So ensure your organization's cyber resilience approach includes a strategy for learning from incidents and what went well so that your security posture, in a sense, improves over time. Okay, and it's really important to do those debriefs for me. And finally, we come on to training. Training is something that I know you will are expecting to see on this activities, and when we kind of put together the title for this workshop, training was one of my main focuses of things that we wanted to discuss. Your business should have a cybersecurity training program in place. And these programs should be evaluated, and where necessary, they should be improved on a regular basis. I want you to think about this. Does everyone that works in your office know what to do if there is a fire? Now think, do they know what to do if there is a cyber attack? The answer to the fire question is always yes. The answer to the cyber attack question is generally not sure, probably not. We need to think, have we given them meaningful and impactful training? Does the training support the technical controls we have in place that we've previously spoken about in other sessions? And does the training reinforce the policies and procedures that we have spent time writing and that hopefully our workforce have helped us to write, and therefore they have already a buy-in in making sure that these kind of are implemented well? I think with a lot of SMEs, we end up buying off-the-shelf training. But if you are looking at doing that, I need you to make sure that it meets your requirements. And as I've said, it works alongside the technical security controls that you have put in place. So understand and prioritize the cybersecurity knowledge and behaviors that individuals in your organization, in your business need before developing or procuring any training solutions. And this is going to rely on also potentially you looking at specific roles as well, and how those needs may change between specific roles. And does one role need a certain type of training, but another role will need an enhanced level? So definitely think about that for me when purchasing that off-the-shelf training. But we also, and I mean, we do it a lot with our training that we give out, and I'll come on to that in a bit, but we need to highlight the benefits of the training to the staff, because let's be honest, this is not the only training package that they have to complete, and we have all been guilty of moaning about training. So be clear about this, how this training is going to help them both as individuals in their personal lives, but also the business as a whole. We need to be showing staff that they are valued by business and build a sense of loyalty, because the staff that care about the organisation are far more likely to want to help it achieve its goals. From a security perspective, this may materialise, for example, through staff wanting to report necessary security workarounds that they have to do in order to get their work done. And then remember, then we can adapt our security policies and procedures as a result of that. Is remember, your staff are your biggest strength and your greatest weakness in this area. They will find workarounds. And if we have not built up that loyalty, that trust with them, they are not likely to report them. They are likely to continue with those workarounds. And we've all heard the risks of shadow IT, shadow AI. So making sure that we build that culture in this respect is vitally important. I think one thing that I have heard from many businesses that I go out and see is that if they are providing in-house training, that unfortunately sometimes the cybersecurity person, the trainer for the cybersecurity element, is often not the best person for the role. So we need to ensure whoever is delivering, the training needs to have sufficient knowledge on the subject, but can also relate to the trainees, the employees, your staff, their everyday work and personal lives. So if you are bringing in somebody externally, sit down with them, make sure that they understand your business and what your staff are faced with, what their everyday processes are looking like, and try and get that bespoke build of a training package. I know it's not always possible, but at least ensure that the trainer has that knowledge base, because let's be honest, if the employees think that they know more than the trainer or perceive them to be like out of touch, they will question the importance of the training and why they couldn't get someone more appropriate to do it. They will not listen in the training scenario. Unfortunately, we've been in the case where we see kind of spinning on a head here, giving a different example of when we have people that go out and speak to young children about their use of social media, or parents talking to young children about their use of social media. If the child knows that you don't know how that app works, how that platform works, they either won't listen or they will try and take you for a ride. And it's very similar even in the working world as adults. If we don't think our trainer knows as much as we do, we will shut down. We will not listen. And then it's also really important to avoid repetition. So, for example, using the same training video year in, year out, um, it will really lead your staff to think there is little importance being placed on the training and they will not be fully invested. I'm going to show you some videos that we use in a bit, and I can send out those links for you if you want to start putting them in your video. But there are always videos being created in this space as well, because the digital hygiene practices that we've previously spoken about, they're changing. Think about how we're seeing a shift from using passwords and two-step verification to pass keys now, and therefore there are videos about what pass keys are coming out. We can use all of that open source free training material that is provided by places like Report Fraud, the National Cybersecurity Centre, and so on. But remember that improving the training and updating it on a regular basis is vital. Criminals are escalating and improving their techniques and their tactics all the time, so our awareness training needs to reflect that. And finally, we need to discuss quite how frequently we're providing this training. Many businesses will hold yearly sessions or have a requirement for employees to complete a yearly e-learning package, which may or may not have a knowledge track at the end, which they may or may not help each other with. Therefore, not taking much away, it's not impactful. Delivering training maybe in small, frequent chunks could arguably be more effective than a hour session once a year. So think about how consistent the messages are, and maybe that small messages are more digestible, but always listen to the feedback from your staff around recent training programs and use this to adapt any future training that you put on. I think for us, when we're looking at the idea of that bite-size information, if you haven't already, sign up to the Eastern Cyber Resilience Centre's membership, and they send out bite-sized learning on a monthly basis that you can then kind of cascade down to your staff. Obviously, review it, make sure it's relevant, make sure it's written in a way that you think that your employees, your staff base, your organization as a whole will understand. If it's not, take that messaging and put it into a different communication method. I mean, we have conversations all the time in the police about how best to do briefings. Is it in person? Should we do newsletters? Should we put things on our intranet? How best are we seeing our involvement from our staff, from our employee base? How best are they digesting that information? Should we have multiple ways of getting that information out? So an in-person briefing followed up by an email. Look at your employees' behaviors, speak to them, understand the time pressures they have with their work. Do they get to look at the intranet to see that messaging, or do we need to put it out in a different way? And is that communication as clear as possible? Now, my role, I'm very lucky, it does provide me with the opportunity to go out and provide free training to businesses. And one of the ways that we do get buy-in from our participants is to make it relatable to their personal as well as their professional lives. Like I've already mentioned, sometimes unless you can hit somebody in their personal life and get them to understand why these basic defensive actions around cybersecurity is so important, why you shouldn't be clicking on links in emails or downloading attachments. Getting them to understand those real world consequences in their personal life will help them to bring good practices over into their professional life. And when you combine that with a good, positive cybersecurity culture, we are doing everything that we can in that sense to keep ourselves, our employees, and the business as safe as possible. Secondly, we look to make our training impactful. So we have a couple of different interactive ways to train people, and it really helps with also making it memorable. We offer a tabletop cyber escape room exercise for all staff at any level, and we also have a management activity as well to help reinforce that leadership element that we spoke about within those essential activities. This activity for the management provides you with a scenario where you have a new business added to your portfolio and you have to make investments in security with a limited budget. And of course, as always, poor decision making has consequences. But gamifying training is a really great way to get buy-in. But remember, we cannot repeat this training year after year, and it needs to be supported by digestible training communications throughout the year and be supported by those technical controls as well. This can seem really overwhelming for SMEs, but there is plenty of support out there, whether that be from myself, the Eastern Cyber Resilience Centre. There is online training available for your staff on the National Cyber Security Centre's website. There's exercise in a box scenarios on there too that you can either run yourself or you can request one of us to come out and run for you. But mixing up the different ways that we train people is a really great way of actually getting them involved, making sure they remember the training, and also making it fun. Like I said, the gamification of things is really, really popular at the moment. And for SMEs, you may not have the budget for yourselves to do that. So reach out to us and we'll see what we can do for you. We can come out and we can do some of these interactive activities that we have. Now, some businesses also choose to reinforce training with awareness campaigns, or they will look for incentives for their staff. And if that's something that you have capacity for, it can be a great way of doing it. I think if you're looking at awareness campaigns, again, they need to be as impactful as possible. It can't just be one of those kind of side projects that we do, a tick box. If we're going to do a campaign, make it worth it. When we kind of go out and we do our training, two of our basic most important terms that we look to address in our training that could also form part of a campaign are digital footprints and social engineering. Now, digital footprints is a term that really everyone is familiar with to some extent, but they often only focus on their active footprints, so things that they're aware of, they're in control over, posts on social media, accepting cookies when you go onto a website, signing up for a newsletter, searches that you make on Google, those kind of things. That's what we've been trained a digital footprint is. But we also need to think about the passive digital footprint. And this is often what we forget about, what we're unaware of. We don't have any control over it. So think about the data breaches that have happened on different platforms, services, companies that you've signed up with and your employees have signed up with outside of work. And there is a risk that their data has been compromised if those organizations, platforms, services have experienced data breaches. If your employees' data has been breached, there is information out there that criminals can then use against them to make themselves seem more legitimate. And this is something that we really need to promote, this idea of a passive digital footprint. But bringing it together with the knowledge of social engineering. I think it's really, really important that we understand what social engineering is, because it can help remove the stigma attached to being a victim of fraud or cyber, but can also help where if we look at reporting, for example, one of those essential activities that we've spoken about, making it clear and easy for people to report without there being a stigma attached. If they understand exactly what social engineering is, they may have the confidence to report more incidents. So social engineering, as you can see there, is human manipulation. It's behavior, psychological manipulation, tricking somebody into doing something that's useful for you as the attacker, for me as the criminal. Think about it in terms of your digital footprint. I'm going to assess your digital footprint, both active and passive, and I'm looking for a weakness or a vulnerability in you. But you may not agree with the weakness or vulnerability I identify because to you it's something you're passionate about, something you have an emotional tie to, whether it be your work, whether it be your friends, your family, a hobby. But once I identify that vulnerability, I use that as my pressure point. I can use that to trick you, to manipulating you into doing something that you would never have done otherwise. And that's why it can lead to having the understanding of what social engineering is can really help give people the confidence to report incidents, because where they have previously felt stupid or silly for clicking on that link, for example, and have tried to cover it up, now they may understand that they have not been silly or stupid. They have been manipulated. They have been groomed is often a term that you will hear and you'll be more familiar with, but they are being manipulated. We would never say we fell for a burglary. So why do we have people saying, oh, I fell for a phishing email, I fell for a scam, I fell for a fraud, I fell for a cyber attack? We need to stop with the victim blaming language, and we need to turn that on its head and be supportive and understand this element of human manipulation, which is at the heart of every single cyber and fraud attack we are seeing nowadays, because it's far more easy to manipulate us and to leave that, for us to leave that door open, in a sense, for those criminals. And they know that, and they are taking advantage of it. So building this strong and positive cybersecurity culture can help tackle all of these things. I'm going to show you now a few of the different videos that we have in our library that we use when we go out on training to reinforce some of our messaging. I think it's really important when you look at training to understand different learning types as well. So what some people will find easier to get their hands on with the escape room, for example. Other people like to be spoken to, and that's how best they kind of understand and kind of learn from, whereas other people like to watch, and therefore we make sure we include all of those elements within our training. And I would really recommend you look at different learning types when putting together any training packages if you do those in-house. Now, this first video I'm going to show you, it is focusing around the idea of digital footprints and social engineering. We often ask people if they can tell us something after the video to ensure they're paying attention. So with this, we'll say, okay, can you tell me how these people have been socially engineered into giving away their personal information without even realizing it? So I'll show you the video now.
Oh, hi, can I help?
Can I have a hot chocolate?
What's the name?
Joelle.
What was the name?
Alex.
Alex. There you go, Johnny.
Cheers.
If you like our Facebook page, we give you a free hot drink and a free pastry.
We have a new like for Damien. We have a new like for Damien.
Hey, Carly, are you standing by?
Standing by. Hi there, can I help?
Yeah, I just liked your Facebook page.
Okay, I'll search Facebook
I'm
now.
searching Google.
Have a phone number.
I've got his email address.
Okay, Carly, are you ready for information on Damien?
Yep, I am.
Mother's maiden name is He banks with
Carly, this is the girl coming in now with the blue scarf.
What's the name? Nicholas.
Nicholas. His date of birth, 7th of May. She lives at 38A.
Just be a couple of seconds.
2 children, age 4 and 6. Previous address. She's got the postcode.
Yep, got it. Damien, age 26 and a fitness instructor.
How do you know what that?
Where did you go to UCL? Martin went to South Thames College, assistant psychologist at Great Ormond Street.
How did you know?
That is... I don't understand.
Oh, pardon?
You know I'm a Christian as well.
Oh, yeah, we know everything about you, Martin. Thank you. Nice to meet you, Anna from Russia.
Now, people will often have a little giggle at that about the reactions from the people that come out, but it helps to reinforce what we've just said about social engineering. So they will be able to therefore identify that the socially engineered element in here is the promise of something for free. Again, this is really relevant for whether your personal or your professional life, the amount of information that's out there about your digital footprint. If you look at what we're posting on social media, many of your staff, many of your employees may be on professional networking sites like LinkedIn. So them listing out the training they've had, who they work for, what their job role is, what systems they've been trained in using, it's a gold mine for criminals on there. And how criminals can take that information and use it in a socially engineered attack is really important for them to understand. But a lot of people will be very, very shocked by this video about just how quite easy and how quickly this amount of information can be gained on them. In previous years gone by, there was a situation where we would look at going into businesses and researching a particular person in there and then showing that person and everyone else exactly how much information, what their digital footprint is showing us. From a policing point of view, we don't do that anymore, but I know there are businesses out there that get permission from a senior management member, for example, to go out and then do that, because it's sort of, it is interesting, and when it's somebody that it's even more impactful. But we obviously need to be conscious about how that is done, and the fact that we are therefore presenting a large amount of personal information about somebody to a group and to their employees or colleagues. So just be very cautious around kind of the ethical elements of that. And definitely, if you are planning on doing that, or if it's something that you do, have those conversations and make sure you kind of have the level of agreement and understanding from your subject before you go ahead and do it. But when we show this video, it leads us really nicely onto social media. And I think sometimes when we are doing cybersecurity training or talking about cybersecurity, people don't often understand why we touch on social media quite so much, but it's because it holds a vast amount of information for us and can have a real impact on the types of techniques and tactics that criminals are starting to use. So you may have heard about the rise of deep fakes and how much better they are getting. So when I say deep fake, I'm talking about a real person who's being made to say or do something that they have never said or done before. And we go on to talk about that and how, the content that is on people's social media that they are posting day in, day out, for the reasons that we think we should be using social media for, to share happy parts of our lives, whether we're sharing about ourselves or our family and friends. The next video that I'm going to show you, it does have a health warning with it, but it really focuses on this idea of deepfakes and how artificial intelligence is escalating tactics and techniques used by criminals. But it shows it in a way where we are focusing on parents that post around their young children. This video is brilliant of getting that emotional reaction from people, and sometimes we need them to have an emotional reaction to training in order to get them to take on the learning, but we do have to be very careful with that if we don't want to scare them and terrify them, because that can have a negative impact. We've got to find the line, but this video is very impactful. I'm going to share it with you now. There is one piece of swearing and there's a reference to indecent images of children, but you do not say anything. It's one of those videos that is very relevant for the personal life, but we can then bring case studies in to speak about particular business cases as a result of that.
Hey, Mom. Hey, Dad. It's me, Ella. Well, a digital version of me. Just a bit older. Amazing what technology can do these days, isn't it? All you need are a couple of pictures, like the ones you share on social media, where they can be taken and used by everybody. I know for you these pictures are just memories, but for others, they are data. And for me, maybe the beginning of a horrible future. A future where my identity can be stolen just like that. Where I can go to prison for things that I would never do. Imagine my credit score being destroyed, Dad. Or my voice copied to scam you, Mom.
Mom, I'm in trouble. I need you to send me money, please.
I don't want to become a meme, humiliated by everyone at school.
Kill yourself, you fucking loser.
And I certainly don't want this. What you share online is like a digital footprint that will follow me around for the rest of my life. I'm telling you this because I know you love me and would never do anything to harm me. So please, Mom, please, Dad, protect my virtual privacy.
I think you will agree that is a very impactful video. But what we like to be really transparent here with is that the fact that this video is from 2018. And when I said about earlier not reusing the same videos here, sometimes videos from previous years can be impactful. I think as long as we're transparent with the fact that they are old and bring that in a learning point in itself, because think about how far this technology has come. And then we can go on to discuss some of those real world business cases to bring it back into your professional life, such as the deep fakes that have been used to, on Teams calls, for example, we had a situation where we had senior management on a call with an individual. That individual was being asked to transfer a large amount of money to pay an invoice. They challenged it. Senior management gave their reasoning as to why they wanted that invoice paid there and then. That employee made that payment. It then turns out that every single one of those senior management on the call were a deep fake. So making sure we have these videos, we can bring a discussion point around them, but they are impactful. And sometimes when the videos are this impactful, it's okay to show an older video, but bringing to light the fact that we recognize that and bringing learning from that in itself. It's also a really great one to show any kind of trends that we're seeing. So with this one in particular, we like to pick up on the voice cloning element and then ask the audience, so get that audience participation in when we are doing presentations to make sure everyone's staying awake, but ask them and say, okay, how long do you think I need to record you talking for me to be able to clone your voice? Seconds, minutes, hours, what do you think? Get them discussing it in the room and then telling them actually, as it stands at the moment, it's 3 seconds. And that can be one of those really impactful moments that they will take away and they will tell their colleagues, their friends and family about. And that's really great to have those moments. And taking the use of pauses as well, I think, when you are presenting to reinforce a point, let it sit with people is a great way of getting that impactful moment. The next video we're going to show you, again, focusing on the kind of area around AI. This is a video that we actually came across on Instagram. So you can find training videos all over the places. We contacted the creator and asked for permission to obviously use this video within our training, and he said yes, obviously with some caveats around leaving his tag in and things, but he was happy to share it because he created it for an educational purpose. But this next video focuses on AI generated video content, again, something that our employees are going to be faced with on a regular basis, and kind of also tying it into the types of offending we're seeing in this area as well. So it's a really great one that we show, and it has a little bit of a comedy value in it as well. So whereas the first one, that one we've just shown you there, is very serious, this one has a little bit more of a comedy value in it. So it may be something that you prefer to use.
In a stunning development, Canada has declared war on the United States. Let's go to Joe Braxton, who is live at the border.
I'm currently at the border, but there is no war. Mom, Dad, I know this looks kind of real, but it's all AI.
Grandpa, I'm fine. This is just AI. You don't need to wire money to anyone. I am not in love with you. And I do not need your money for a plane ticket. I am AI.
This fake moon landing footage isn't classified. It's AI.
You're probably wondering how I got rich with crypto. The truth is, I didn't get rich off crypto. I don't even exist.
You might be able to tell this is fake now, but it's gonna keep getting better.
We're all AI.
There could be aliens, but I'm not one of them. I'm AI.
An herbal supplement did not cure my cancer. I'm not even real.
Uncle Fred, the government has not been taken over by lizard people.
You don't need to send us $5,000 in gift cards because you missed jury duty.
Grandma, it's not real. It's AI.
It's AI.
It's AI.
Bro, it's AI.
Fake faces.
Real consequences.
Think before you trust.
I appreciate the message of this video, but it was all made with AI too, so can we even trust it?
It looked pretty real to me.
So as you can see there, definitely more of a comedy value to that training. And I think you've really got to kind of go with what you think the tone of the training should be for the people in your audience and make those decisions. But sometimes it's nice to do a little bit of both, that serious element, and then kind of back it up with by a little bit of more of something fun there. But I think a really great one, again, like I said, something we came across on social media, and the guy has a YouTube channel as well. So definitely check out his work, look at his tag. It's really interesting. And I think it really reinforces as well that the barrier to cybercrime, and I think this is something important for all of us on the call to understand, is basically non-existent now. Because of AI, we don't need to have highly technical individuals committing these types of offences. Anybody could do it. Google VO3, for example, available to purchase. If you're willing to pay the price, anyone can build this type of content. As we've talked about in the threat landscape, you know, criminals are working together. Ransomware as a service, I can purchase these things. I don't need to create them, build them myself anymore. I have somebody else doing it, or I have artificial intelligence to help me along the way. Another video we show is in relation to phishing. But before I touch on that one, we've got a new one that we've recently come across, again, in relation to AI. And I think it could be really, really useful for when we talk about those shadow AI issues that we're currently experiencing within our businesses, and to get our employees to understand how our information is being used. And when we ask a question, when we put information into an AI chatbot, from a personal perspective, the repercussions of that and where that information is going, for them to then stop using that from a shadow AI perspective in-house. So again, touching on their personal lives to influence their professional ones.
I think that Sam is having an affair.
I'm really sorry you're going through this, Alice. That's an incredibly difficult and painful situation to be in.
Now bidding for the data of Lot 874. Female, age 35. Emotionally vulnerable. Sold. Lot 297, mother and son. Candidates for targeted advertisements. Sold. Bidding for lot 598, investment plan of hedge fund Blackwater Associates, predicting growth in medical markets. Sold. Lot 538, unpublished mRNA cancer research. Sold. The final lot for bidding, the unpublished novel of user 364.
And I'll leave that video there. But I think, again, these can be really impactful when put in and kind of having discussion points after. I think sometimes we use videos to fill time, but I think it's really, really important that after we show a video, what was our aim of showing that video? What discussion can that raise? Is there kind of any activities we can do off the back of that? Don't just use videos to fill time in this sense. Ensure that we have a reason for putting them in there. Make sure they are impactful. This one is the phishing one that I spoke about a second ago. And we show this because it's a great example of social engineering. So when we've mentioned social engineering right at the start of the presentation, this is generally in our slide deck more towards the end. So it reinforces that element again, but it also shows, and our kind of point of showing this is to say anybody can be manipulated. You may have policies and procedures, but the criminals will try to manipulate you to come away from those. And that's what this is showing here for us, that it can happen to anyone. I'll show you the video and I'll see what you think.
They're going to hack me using social engineering, which is essentially hacking without any code. They just use a phone and an internet connection.
Do you want to do a sample phishing call?
What's phishing?
Phishing is voice solicitation, and basically what you do is you use the phone to extract information or data points that can be used in a later attack.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Who are you going to call?
Maybe I'll call your cell phone provider and
Okay.
see if I can get them to give me your email address.
I bet they're good. I bet they have my back. But yeah, go for it.
I'm going to spoof from your number, so it's going to look like it's calling from you.
Okay.
Hi, I'm so sorry. Can you hear me okay? My baby, I'm sorry. my husband's like, we're about to apply for a loan and we just had a baby and he's like, get this done by today. So I'm so sorry. I can't call you back. I'm trying to log into our account for uses information and I can't remember what email address we used to log the account. The baby's crying and can you help me? Awesome.
In just 30 seconds,
At gmail.com?
Jessica gets access to my personal email address.
Now, if I needed to add our older daughter on our account so she could call in and make changes, how would I need to go about doing that? You would have to send me a secure PIN through a text message? Yeah, well, the thing is, I don't think I'll be able to receive a text message if I'm on the phone. Oh, I'm not on there either? So I thought when we got married, he added me to the account.
Jess uses my girlfriend's name and a fake social security number
5127.
to set up her own personal access to my account.
Wait, I'm sorry, so there's no password on my account right now? Can I set that up?
She even gets the support person to change my password.
Thank you so much for your help today.
So she just basically blocked me out of my own account.
So as well as being kind of shown how anyone could be manipulated into altering your policies and procedures in-house, also think about how this is really, really important for what we said around ensuring that, key players in the workforce that have the knowledge around what the role requirements are, the issues that they face when writing these policies and procedures is vitally important. Because in this situation, that person was saying that they're, in a sense, non-technical. They didn't know they could receive a text whilst on the phone, and therefore they had to come away from policies and procedures. But this will be something that those customer service people will experience on a regular basis. So ensuring that we have another option, another procedural element that can account for this is extremely important. But without talking to those people with their feet on the ground, how do we know that? Senior management cannot be the only ones putting together these policies and procedures. We need it as a joined up approach here.
They're going to hack me.
Now, finally, looking at the indicators of success when we're talking about this positive cybersecurity culture, which is going to only help build your cyber resilient workforce. Now, have a look at these questions. Think about them for your business right now, but also use them as those indicators and those measurements for as we move forward. And you'll also see a little table on the board there, which is accessible via the National Cybersecurity Centre. But does your senior management act as good role models currently? Senior management, CEOs, board members, they should be good role models when it comes to cybersecurity behaviors. This includes the keeping of data and information they use safe and secure, knowing what to do if they feel that they have been targeted, and speaking about it openly and positively with employees about why this cybersecurity training, knowledge, awareness is important to the organization, and how that, in a sense, it will help improve your cybersecurity culture within your organization. I've had reports where senior management have failed phishing tests, and therefore, rather than holding their hands up and kind of speaking to their employees and saying, it can happen to anyone, it happened to me, I was manipulated, I made that error, but this is how I rectified it. This is the process and the policy that I went through to report that. Instead, they shut down that phishing testing. And I don't think anyone in this room now would say that that was them acting as a good role model. So ensure that kind of open conversation with your employees if they do feel that they've been targeted, or they have been a victim themselves, or they have clicked on that link in that phishing email test, is communicated to help with that cybersecurity culture. The second question, do you think you can demonstrate a collaborative approach to security policy and process design, just like we've just mentioned? Cybersecurity is a shared responsibility. It is everyone in your business's responsibility. And if your business is developing a positive cybersecurity culture, it should be possible for your security team to demonstrate how those policies and processes have been designed in collaboration with HR, with training teams, to really address the problems and improve the culture. If it is hard to point to the ways in which policies or processes have been shaped by the wider organization, then this may indicate that you've got a less mature cybersecurity culture. So having that combined and collaborative approach around policies and processes is a really, really great place to start reviewing those. And I know a lot of our policies and procedures will have set review dates. There is nothing to say that you can't go back into your business now and look at them right here, right now, and get a working group together of those key people, those key players that can help you design policies and procedures that are proportionate, that are fair, that are, making your organization safer. A really key one, and something that we've already covered. Do you have a no blame culture? Because no blame does not mean no accountability. Learning from incidents is key to understanding why something happened and preventing it in the future. For organizations with a positive culture, incident reports provide an opportunity to reflect on what could have been done differently, including the root cause, the actual response, and how the organization could improve. If the report focuses on individuals or teams who are behind the problem, this is a sign that you have a less mature cybersecurity culture. So yes, we do need them to take accountability, but part of that accountability is those learning points, that debrief, seeing what we could do to improve, rather than a blame, pointing the finger at a particular individual or team, because that is only going to make people cover up their mistakes, because you will have a victim blaming culture rather than this no blame positive cybersecurity culture we are looking to achieve. And finally, do your security metrics focus on success rather than failure? Metrics express organizational values, and if you appear to value the absence of reports of problems, you incentivize people to keep quiet about the issues. Consider how you can formulate your security metrics in terms of successes. So, for example, as well as measuring how many people clicked on the phishing email, focus on how many people reported that. And although you may need to keep accountability and keep those metrics of how many people clicked on the phishing email, the thing that you promote and the thing that you put out to your employees maybe needs to focus on how many people reported it. And again, that will help to build this cybersecurity culture. We are in that case where we can't just say, oh, we're gonna start, but we're gonna have a good cybersecurity, a good positive cybersecurity culture right here, right now. No, we need to look at these essential activities. We need to measure our indicators of success, and we will need to make changes. Have a look at all of these elements for me. Review your policies and procedures, speak to your staff, speak to your employees, get their opinions on things. What are they struggling with? Do they have any solutions for these struggles? And change the language that we use. And our clear communication is key to all of this. But that is us finished. I have done very well for time here, so I'm very proud of myself. But if anyone has questions, I can't see the Q&A, so I might need Joe to read them out to me if there are any questions. But if not, I am done. And thank you very much for attending.